Hello everyone, it's Saturn here, and today I'm going to be ranking every SMG in Arsenal from worst to best. So sit back and enjoy the show. So we're going to get straight into this, and there's 20 guns, so let's start with number 20, which is the PP Bison. Now this gun does have a very high mag capacity, but it severely lacks in damage and fire rate. It has no recoil, but it suffers from like a high amount of spread, and it can take up to 11 headshots to kill someone at longer ranges, and this gun is just way too weak to compete with the others, which is why it's in last place. Now we got the next one at number 19, which is the Tommy gun. This gun also has a mag capacity that's very high. It has 50 rounds, but again, it lacks in damage just like the Bison. It does have a better fire rate than the PP Bison, but its spread is way worse, and it is very inaccurate beyond point blank range. This is just a slightly better version of the PP Wissy Pissy Bison. Now we're coming in at number 18, the Model 635. This gun has 32 total rounds in the mag, which is decent. At close range it can get the job done, but it runs out of ammo quick and the damage can drop off very quickly. And it also suffers from higher spread, so it makes it harder to hit shots beyond close range, which is why it ranks so low. I'm just going to add a little note here. Just because weapons like these are this low doesn't mean they're necessarily bad. It's just that they're not as good compared to the other weapons, because most weapons in Arsenal are pretty solid, which makes them harder to rank, so please just keep that in mind. Anyways, we're moving on to number 17, and we got the Uzi. So this gun has decent ammo capacity again, and it also has a slower fire rate, so ammo doesn't run out too fast. But at longer ranges, the spread can build up if you continuously fire it for too long, and the damage is slightly lacking. However, it's not really bad enough to make it a useless weapon exactly, and it also has a recoil that's manageable, so it's a little bit better at range. Number 16, we got the MP7. This gun has a high fire rate and it functions well at close range, but it has high spread and the recoil is also quite high. So those paired together makes it harder to use at longer ranges, and it can also run out of ammo pretty fast, and it also has a pretty high amount of damage drop off, which is why I placed the MP7 so low. I'm just not a huge fan of it personally. Coming in at number 15, we got the P90. The remarkable thing about this gun is that it has 50 rounds in one mag, which is very high, but the thing about it is that it has a high amount of spread, and it also suffers from quite a bit of damage drop off at range, which is typical for an SMG, but this makes it really not worth using at longer ranges, but it at least has a good fire rate to make it useful at closer ranges. Alright, next at number 14, we've got the MP5K. So this gun overall has a pretty good fire rate and manageable recoil, but it does suffer from spread and damage drop off just like a typical SMG. But its damage combined with its fire rate makes it an all-around solid SMG. I'm not really mad at the MP5K, it does its job pretty well. Next up at number 13, we've got the MP9S. So this gun has 30 rounds in a mag, which seems to be typical for most SMGs. It does have a little bit of kick to it, but the spread is not as bad as some of the other SMGs, despite having a higher fire rate. So I put it higher than the other SMGs because the higher accuracy makes it feel a lot more rewarding to use. Coming in at number 12, we got the Micro Uzis. So these are dual Uzis and they have 50 rounds, which is a lot, but the thing about it is that it spends 2 rounds per shot, which I never even noticed at first, and it makes the ammo run out a lot quicker. And it also has a high amount of spread, which is to be expected with a dual-wield SMG. But the thing about it is that it actually shreds at closer ranges because it has a high fire rate, and it also deals a considerable amount of damage at that range. Now coming in at number 11, we've got the UMP45. Now this gun has some spread, making it a little bit less effective at range, but I enjoy using it because the lower fire rate makes the recoil easier to manage, and this gun deals a higher damage than a lot of the other SMGs, and even at medium range it functions quite well due to its higher accuracy. Now, kicking off the top 10, we got the MAC-10. They both have 10 in it, what a coincidence. So this gun has some recoil to it, however, its spread's not as bad at all, and it has a good amount of damage despite its higher fire rate. and the lower spread makes this gun a lot easier to use at longer ranges than most of the other SMGs, which is why I think it's worth placing in the top 10. Number 9, we got the Z80, the only laser SMG. It has a low fire rate, but it has infinite ammo. It can overheat if you shoot it for too long, so make sure not to do that, of course. The great thing about this weapon is that it deals a high amount of damage, and it actually doesn't have any damage drop off, making it the only SMG to have that feature. What places it a little bit lower though is the fact that it has very high spread and recoil despite its low fire rate, which makes it slightly harder to use at longer ranges. I hope you didn't hear that bird passing by. Number 8 is the Sten. Although it has a high amount of spread, it functions well at most ranges actually. The lower fire rate makes it easier to control, and it deals a high amount of damage. Overall, it's just a good SMG, and it does everything it's supposed to do. Now, number 7, we got the Mauser Carbine. This gun has very high fire rate, and it can deal a ton of damage if your shots are hitting. And it's good at most ranges because it has a low amount of spread, and the recoil is quite manageable. With that being said, it only has 20 rounds in a mag, making it run out of ammo very fast, making it very common to get caught in a reload. Now at number 6, this might surprise some people, we've got the MAT 49. This is hands down the most underrated weapon in the game. It does have a lower mag capacity of 20, and it has a slower fire rate, which makes it actually run out of ammo a little bit slower. And it also has little to no spread and very high accuracy, and it also has a high and consistent amount of damage across all ranges, which is why I think the MAT 49 deserves to be in the number 6 spot. I think it's a really underrated weapon. Coming in at the top 5, taking the number 5 spot is the PPSH. This gun's mag capacity is absolutely ridiculous. It has 71 rounds. Despite this, it has a high fire rate, and it deals a good amount of damage as well. And it also has very high accuracy, making it good at any range due to its lower recoil and pretty low spread. This weapon is exactly what the PP Bison could have been. It might as well shoot pies. Coming in at number 4, we've got the Grease Gun. So this gun only has 20 rounds in a mag, but it's so good because it literally hits like a truck. It does kick a little bit, but that lower fire rate makes it easier to chain together the shots. It can only take a couple of shots to take someone down at closer ranges, and it still hits very hard even at longer ranges, which is why it places so high. Coming in at number 3, we've got the BH-10, taking 3rd place. This weapon has a very high mag capacity with 50 rounds. Now, its spread can build up a little bit, but the recoil is very manageable and very predictable, which makes it very accurate. It also fires very fast and deals solid damage, and it's good at any range, which makes it have a very fast TTK. Coming in at number 2, we've got the Vector. This gun has an average mag capacity of 30 rounds. That seems typical for SMGs. But the thing is, the fire rate is so fast that it spends all those rounds almost instantly. The recoil can kick a little bit, but it has low spread, making it effective at most ranges. And as long as you're accurate with this thing, the TTK is pretty much instant, and it's very rewarding. The number 1 SMG in Arsenal is the FMG9. Now, not only do I think it's the best SMG in the game, but you could make a case that it's one of the best weapons in the game in general. It has a 32 round mag capacity, which is pretty decent, but it also has very low recoil and spread, while also dealing a very high amount of damage with a high fire rate. Literally all of the positive qualities you could want in an SMG exist within the FMG9, which is what makes it the best SMG in the game. I hope you enjoyed that video. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell so that you don't miss videos like this. Also, if you agree with me or disagree with me, let me know what you think in the comments. And I will be doing this with the other weapon categories in the game as well. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
I remember making